How is everybody doing today? L.A.Kendrick with another tale from the vault of Wood. All right, you guys, how are you doing? Okay, got my friend here to help set the mood. We're doing stuff for the Halloween time, trick-or-treatish. Make sure that we're doing our part. And hey, setting the mood for the season. Again, you know how we do it? One shot, one take. And to preserve the authenticity of the work, all right? No editing. Maybe one day when this thing takes off, I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers, guys. Please hit that notification bell. Some of you guys have told me that YouTube is not actually alerting you guys that I'm on. I'm like, gosh, because I'm noticing that the viewership in some of these videos is really, really low. And trying to make sure that they get up there and see what we can do when we hit 500, because I'm not sure what happens at 500, but they said something about 500. You can start doing different stuff, unlock different stuff. But today, we're talking about everything cryptid, supernatural, extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional, demonic, serial killer, hauntings, paranormal, you name it, we talk about it. We're trying to reimagine what you used to imagine when you were younger, or when you actually cared about stuff like that. You had time to think about stuff like that, or you just were in a situation where you were forced to think about stuff that was out of your control, that you have no explanation for. Share it here, man. And again, don't forget to get my book, The Foes of God. It's out right now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble's Books A Million. You name it, you can pick it up. Great story. It ties in the end of the Destiny vs. Chaos series, the final battle. It's an amazing story. Sci-fi for the adults, and I'm working on the new kids novel, The Benefits of a Bully series. Should have that out here shortly. But what I want to talk to you about today, you guys, is it's creepy. It's real creepy. And I used to wonder how many times people were actually killed by Bigfoot, allegedly. Because I would think, these things are mean, you hardly ever see them. People keep going up missing in the forests, in a lot of these mountain areas. So this story goes back to a lady. I'm just gonna jump right in. There was a lady, and I watched her interview with Brenton Sawin, S-A-W-I-N, R.I.P. He's no longer with us, but she did a good interview with him, and I was just speculating, man. I guess I wanted to share it with you guys. She said she was about 9 years old, and they were in a cabin that her father or her grandfather owned. It's a lot to take in. I was trying to make sure, like I said, I don't like to take up too much of you guys' time. And she said that this thing did something to one of her neighbors. She said that they were out there in the sticks, and it was just two homes, log cabins, hers and this lady. She said the lady was approximately 75 years old. Said she was a good lady, always out in the yard, gardening, and always washing her clothes by hand and hanging her laundry out. And her mom had shared with her a story about her when she was a little girl, that she was in a camper, and these things came around and just kept rocking and rocking and rocking and rocking and rocking, scared her to death. Her parents couldn't do anything. At the time, they could only just sit back and watch, which is kind of weird, because I think I would have done anything in my power and, to try to defend my kid. Nonetheless, her mom was traumatized by the event, which leads up to this new event. So the mother and the daughters, two daughters, and the daughter's actually telling the story. She said the mother was conveying the message to her. She said she lost her mother when she was younger, and her mother was telling her that story that ties into this one. And she was telling her mother died from cancer, and her mother was telling her, please do not go into the woods. Stay out of the woods. It's not a good spot for you. Stay out of the woods. The woods are dangerous because of these things. And she said she took it to heart. She said, and it broke her heart because her mother, again, left her early. But she said to her neighbor, back to the neighbor, said the neighbor was an older elderly lady, and she was always nice. She said she was sharp as a whip, no decline in her mental cognitive abilities. And said she was just, doing her thing. And at night, everybody would go in, and the lady, she said she would never see the lady. She said the lady had pane glass windows and a really, really thick, solid door. And dogs would come up killed. The lady's dogs were killed. And she said that one night in particular, the men had left. The father and the grandfather had left. But the grandfather knew the lady next door very well. And so late that night, she said that she heard her mother was telling her, she woke her and her sister up and she brought them to the forefront, and she was trying to make sure that they were in her protection and her watch, because she could hear something next door howling, growling, and some kind of weird chatter. She said it sounded like a person that's deaf trying to talk, but also intoxicated. And she said when the mother looked out the window, her mother looked out the window, and she had set them near the windows as well, but told them not to look out. She said she could see this thing beating on the lady's door. She said it was so powerful, the beating was, that it was reverberating inside of the house, her home, which was a few yards away. And the lady never came to the door. Now the lady had a telephone, but they didn't have a telephone in that cabin that they were in. And she said that the thing was looking inside of the painted glass window and trying to get in. And she said when she looked through the window, she could see it and another one. She said the first one was about 9 feet tall. She said the second was about 7 foot tall. She said, but it was scary. She said it looked like Frankenstein to her is how she could best describe it, because her young mind at 9, that's the only thing that she could see. And that's the only thing she could understand or relate it to. She said, but it continued to beat and beat and beat, and it looked in their direction. And her mom only had like a 38 special. So she took the daughters into the basement of the house, and she said you could still hear the things beating, kicking, knocking, hammering on the door. And she said she's pretty sure the lady called the cops. She said, but they kept on and they kept on. She said finally she heard the most god-awful crash, and she said she soiled herself. She said she was so scared, it just scared her so bad what she had seen, and then she was putting it all together. It was a monster. And the mother was trying to comfort the daughters the best that she could, and when you heard that crash, and you heard them just really, really screaming these things and yelling, and you heard the lady scream really, really loud one time, and then everything fell silent. Again, killed the dogs, and apparently left. And the cops finally came, she said 2 hours later. And the granddad and her dad came home finally as well. And when they did, there was blood. They said in the cabin next to them was blood everywhere. There was blood everywhere. And they never found a trace of the lady. These things took her. She said they were Bigfoot. She said these things don't need to be protected. She's adamant about that. They don't need to be protected. They're violent. She said the only thing that they are motivated by is food and reproduction. Now, what they could want with that old elderly lady, who knows, man? I'm really surprised that she didn't have a gun and she didn't shoot it. She didn't shoot. But there are stories of elderly ladies shooting these things point blank, and nothing happened. That's another story. And she said she was never the same after seeing that. Said it was a good lady and she didn't deserve to die that way, because they never found her. Just blood and mangled dogs. She said her mother slapped her dad when she got there, and the granddad was distraught because he knew the lady very, very well, and he apparently knew some of what was in that area, but he didn't convey that to the family. So the mother packed up everything and she left. took the kids and she left. She didn't specify what happened with the dad, but she said that the sound, let me try to find the sound real quick. She said the sound was equivalent to this. So, let me see if I can get this. She said that the sounds, she said at first it sounded like this. The gibberish sounded this way. Similar to the Sierra sounds. That's Ron Moorhead. Let me fast forward a little bit. I'm trying my best to get it to where it's a lot of wind in the background. They're mimicking each other. Okay, but I'm gonna stop that one because it's not giving me what I need. But she said that it sounded like that samurai chatter. And this is what she said it sounded like when it was making the howling sounds. Yada 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 yada. Hopefully you guys can hear that. The dogs are barking. This thing has got the dogs. She said that's the sound that made her soul herself. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that, but they call those the Ohio howls. So purportedly be a Bigfoot. But if that truly happened to that lady, that is a terrible, terrible way to go, man. Drug off into the darkness, never to be seen again, and there's blood everywhere. They must have killed her, according to her testimony. And she was crying through the interview. I don't know what to think, but right now it's raining cats and dogs outside, which really sets the mood for what we're dealing with right now. But man, this is crazy. Just curious, would you guys dare want to be caught out there in a situation like this by yourself in a home and these things come and they take you? Or you have to witness someone being taken and you're helpless to fight back because she said her mother was traumatized because she didn't get to help the lady out. Wow, man, I tell you, man, I don't know. I don't know what to think. You guys tell me what you think about it. Do you think Bigfoot are actually killing people out there? You think some of these people come up missing are due to a Bigfoot? Because I'm pretty sure they got personalities just like humans. Some cool, some not cool, some bipolar, some straight. You never know what the agendas are. But they're still a wild animal. And let me close it out. If you happen to work late at night or into the wee hours of the morning, you guys check under your cars, check in your cars, check around your cars, check your houses, check the dark recesses of your home, check your closets, keep your family close, because you never know what's lurking in the darkness, waiting to drag you off in this holiday season and make you a story. And this has been L.A.Kendrick with another tale from the vault of Would You Dare. Let me show you this rain coming down real quick, you guys. Just want you guys to get a sense of how much rain is coming down. Like I said, it's really set the mood out here for me. This is what it looks like when I'm at. You guys can see that? Dreary, scary. And until next time, you guys be safe. Let me pack up, and you guys fill in the rest.